Dear listeners, are you ready to make 2025 your best year yet?
I think we can help with that.
We're diving deep into Achieve Your Dreams in 2025. Powerful strategies for setting yearly goals.
That's right, and this deep dive is all about setting yourself up for success. So let's get started.
Sounds great.
You know what I really like about this article is that it emphasizes setting goals, but it doesn't get bogged down in the need for, super rigid plans.
Yeah, it's not about being restrictive.
Exactly. It's more about creating a flexible roadmap for the year ahead. You know, life is full of unexpected twists and turns.
It's like having a GPS for your year,
Yes.
but one that reroutes you when you hit those detours, which we always do.
Right.
And speaking of getting to where you want to go, this article highlights some pretty compelling benefits to having that roadmap. Clarity, focus, a boost in motivation.
It even mentions that achieving goals can really amp up your self-confidence, even if they're small goals.
Which we could all use more of.
Absolutely. But here's where it gets really interesting. The article stresses the importance of reflection before setting any new goals.
Oh, I like that.
It's like checking your rearview mirror before you hit the gas. So, have you really had a chance to analyze the past year? What worked well for you? What didn't quite hit the mark?
Well, you know me. I am a huge believer in journaling.
Me too.
This article suggests the same thing. To jot down your thoughts about the past year. Think about your accomplishments, challenges, those aha moments that shifted your perspective.
Yeah, it's like having a heart-to-heart with yourself, but on paper.
Exactly.
It's so valuable, and it's not just about personal reflection. The article encourages getting feedback from other people, too.
Oh, interesting. Like who?
Well, think about the people in your life whose opinions you really value. Maybe a mentor, a trusted friend, a colleague.
Someone will give it to you straight.
Exactly. Their perspective can offer amazing insights, stuff that you might have missed.
I love that. It's so true. That outside perspective can be so illuminating. And, I'm always looking for cool new tech tools to make life a little easier. So I was excited to see the article mentioning some for tracking progress toward your goals, spreadsheets for the super organized folks out there.
Apps like Habitica, which make achieving goals feel like a game.
I love Habitica.
And, of course, you can't go wrong with a good old-fashioned journal.
Absolutely. So many options.
And you've used Habitica before, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect if you thrive on rewards and challenges.
Yeah, that gamified approach really keeps me engaged.
I bet. It's all about finding tools that work for you.
Absolutely. But before we get lost in the logistics of it all, there's something important that the article brings up. Aligning your goals with your values. Have you taken the time to consider if your goals for 2025 really reflect what's most important to you?
That's so important. Connecting your goals to your values is essential.
It is.
Like, if family is at the top of your list, do your goals show that? Maybe it's about more quality time with loved ones or creating new family traditions.
And if personal growth is a core value for you, your goals might involve learning new skills or diving into a hobby.
Yes. Or even just dedicating more time for self-reflection.
Yeah.
It's about ensuring your goals feel authentically you.
I love that.
And that's where the smarter goal-setting framework comes in. I'm sure you've heard of SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound.
Classic.
But this article adds two more elements: exciting and routine-bound. So it's not just about being smart, it's about making those goals exciting and a part of your daily life.
Okay, break it down for me. What does a smarter goal look like in action?
Okay, take running a 5K. Instead of saying, I want to run a 5K, which is pretty vague, a smarter goal would be, I will run a 5K in under 30 minutes by training 3 times a week, following a program, and completing the race by December 31st.
Okay, I see.
So it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound.
And get you pumped.
Exactly. The exciting element keeps you going when things get tough.
Makes sense.
And the routine-bound aspect is about making those goals a part of your daily life. It's about forming habits that support them. So you're not squeezing in training whenever, you're committing to a consistent schedule.
I get it. Consistency is key. But let's be real. Those big yearly goals can feel huge, like climbing Mount Everest.
Oh, yeah.
But this article reminds us we don't have to tackle the whole thing at once.
Thank goodness.
It's all about breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Absolutely. That's where mini goals and milestones come in. Like, say you're writing a book.
Okay. Yeah.
Instead of being overwhelmed by the whole manuscript, you break it down into milestones. The outline, the first draft, editing each chapter.
You'd chunk it out.
Exactly.
And having a timeline for each of those steps is important.
Definitely.
Maybe using a calendar or a task management app to keep yourself on track.
like Todoist.
Yes, I've heard good things about Todoist.
It's great for breaking down projects and setting deadlines.
Perfect for staying organized.
And it can help you avoid feeling overwhelmed.
I like that. It's like having a personal project manager. Speaking of staying on track, let's talk about habits. This article stresses how important it is to develop good habits that support your goals.
It's true. Habits can either help or hurt our progress.
It's amazing how much of a difference they make.
It really is.
So which habits are already supporting your goals? And which ones might be holding you back?
That's a good question to think about.
It is. And the article gives some really practical tips for building those good habits.
Like what?
Things like starting small, setting reminders, tracking your progress.
Those are all good.
They are. And they give some good examples of positive habits. Daily exercise, dedicated work time, practicing mindfulness.
And if you think about those examples in terms of routine-bound goals, we can see how powerful habits really are. Like you mentioned that writing every day is important to you.
Yeah, it is.
Well, imagine making it a habit to write for 30 minutes each morning. That could lead to amazing progress on your novel.
Small steps lead to big results.
Yeah.
And I've always found that telling someone about my goals makes me way more likely to actually do them.
That's accountability.
It's like having a built-in cheerleader and accountability partner all in one.
It makes a huge difference.
It really does. This article suggested things like sharing your goals with a friend, joining a group, or even using accountability apps. It's about having something or someone to help keep you focused and moving forward.
That's so helpful. Support can really make all the difference. But even with the best laid plans, let's be realistic, we all hit bumps in the road.
Obstacles are inevitable.
Right. The question is, how do we handle them? Remember how we talked about the roadmap?
Yeah,
It's not about following a rigid path. It's about adapting and adjusting as you go.
being flexible.
Exactly. And this article gives some great advice for handling setbacks. See them as learning opportunities, not failures.
I like that.
So instead of getting discouraged, ask, what can I learn? How can I adjust and move forward?
It's about resilience and being adaptable.
Absolutely. Those are key ingredients for success. Life rarely goes exactly as planned. It's how you handle the curveballs that matters.
Very true. And remember, it's okay to ask for support when you need it.
Yes. Reach out to friends, family, mentors. Sometimes a fresh perspective or a word of encouragement can make all the difference.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, so we've covered a lot already. The benefits of setting goals, reflecting, aligning with values, the smarter framework, breaking things down, habits, and dealing with obstacles.
That's a lot.
But there's still more to talk about,
More. Like what?
like how to stay motivated throughout the entire year.
That's important. We all struggle with that sometimes.
We do, but good news, the article has some really great tips.
Okay, I'm ready. What are they?
One that really stood out was celebrating small wins.
Ah,
It sounds simple, but it's huge. Acknowledging those tiny victories along the way can really boost your motivation.
totally. Like giving yourself a mini high five every time you hit a milestone, no matter how small.
Exactly. Those little celebrations can keep your spirits up, remind you that you're making progress.
And it's a good reminder to stay connected to the why behind your goals. Why did you set these goals in the first place? What's the bigger picture?
It's so easy to lose sight of that when things get tough.
It is. Remembering your purpose can be incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. It's like having a North Star to guide you. And, sometimes it helps to make those goals feel more real. This article suggests revisiting those visualization techniques, like the vision board we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah. Have you started one?
I actually have. I've been gathering magazine cutouts, quotes, things like that. And it's amazing how just the act of creating it makes me feel so excited to achieve those goals.
I bet.
And like the article suggests, I'm going to keep it somewhere, I'll see it every day, a constant visual reminder.
I love that. That's a great idea. Visualizing your goals, whether it's with a vision board or writing that letter to your future self, or even just doing some guided visualization exercises, it can really make them feel more attainable.
Yeah, it's like giving your brain a sneak peek into the amazing future you're working towards. And there's another thing this article mentioned that I found really interesting, affirmations. Those positive statements that reinforce your belief in yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It might sound a little cheesy, but
But they work.
they do. They really do.
It's about giving your mind those positive messages, counteracting the self-doubt that can creep in.
That little voice that tells you you can't do it.
Exactly.
Right.
The more you affirm your capabilities and your commitment to your goals, the more ingrained those beliefs become.
Love it. It's like giving your brain a pep talk.
Yeah.
Okay, before we move on, I wanted to touch on accountability again. Sharing your goals to stay on track. The article talks about the power of having an accountability partner, someone who cheers you on and offers support,
It's like having a teammate in your corner.
someone to push you and celebrate those victories. The article suggests finding a friend, joining a support group, or even using those accountability apps.
There are some great ones out there, like Stick, which uses commitment contracts, our Focus Mate, if you like the co-working vibe.
Oh, yeah. And of course, there's Habitica, which can make it feel like a game.
So many options.
It's all about finding the right fit for you. Some people have group settings, others prefer a one-on-one approach.
It really is personal preference.
It's like finding the perfect workout buddy, someone who challenges and supports you. Now, we've talked about all these great strategies, but we have to be real. Life happens. There will be obstacles.
Absolutely. The question is, how do you respond to those challenges? Remember, your roadmap isn't set in stone.
It's not about being rigid. It's about being flexible.
Exactly. This article has some good advice on dealing with setbacks. See them as learning experiences.
I love that.
So don't get discouraged. Instead, ask, what can I learn? How can I adjust my approach and keep going?
That's such a powerful shift in perspective.
It is.
And sometimes the biggest obstacles are the ones in our own heads.
Ugh. Yeah, those self-doubting thoughts. Have you ever experienced that?
Of course. We all have that little voice sometimes saying you can't do it. But this article reminds us to be kind to ourselves.
Self-compassion. So important.
It is. Focus on your strengths. Surround yourself with positive people, people who believe in you.
You've got to build yourself up.
You do. So I think the takeaway here is embrace the challenges, see them as opportunities for growth, and remember that you've got the strength to overcome anything.
You really do. And as we've been talking about all this, I've been thinking about something the article didn't explicitly mention.
Oh, what's that?
It's about being flexible with your goals. We've talked about having a roadmap, not a rigid plan, and I think that applies to the goals themselves too. Allowing them to change as you change.
You know what? That's a great point. We grow and evolve. Our goals should too.
Right. What felt important a few months ago might not resonate with you now.
It's about giving yourself permission to adjust course. Maybe even letting go of goals that no longer serve you. Not as a failure, but as growth.
I love that reframing.
It's about staying true to yourself. Do you think journaling and reflecting can help us stay in tune with those changes and adjust our goals accordingly?
Absolutely. Regular reflection is like checking in with your inner compass, making sure you're still headed in the right direction, asking yourself, are these goals still exciting to me? Do they align with my values?
And if they don't, you can adjust course.
Exactly. So it's not about setting goals in January and forgetting about them until December.
It's an ongoing process.
It is. It's about learning, adapting, and growing, both personally and in relation to our aspirations.
Like tending a garden. You plant the seeds, but you also have to nurture them, weed out what's not working, and adjust as the seasons change.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And as we wrap up this deep dive into goal setting, I think it all comes down to mindset. It's not just the strategies or the tools, it's about cultivating a growth mindset, embracing challenges, and believing in yourself.
It's about shifting from that fixed mindset where you think your abilities are set in stone to a growth mindset where you know you can learn and develop new skills.
Yes.
And with that growth mindset, we can approach our goals with a sense of excitement and determination. 2025 is just around the corner, and I have a feeling it's going to be an incredible year.
I think so too. But as we wrap up, here's a final thought for you. We've talked a lot about how the strategies and tools, but what about the why? What's the real purpose behind your goals?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's about figuring out what's driving you. Is it external validation, like money or status? Or is it something deeper, something more aligned with your values and passions?
Exactly. What if your goals are really about who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve?
I love that. It's not about checking things off a list. It's about using your goals to grow, to discover new things about yourself, even maybe to evolve on a deeper level.
Yes. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. When you look at it that way, goal setting becomes less about chasing things and more about crafting a life that's meaningful and fulfilling.
A life that reflects what truly matters to you.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about setting goals, reflecting on the past, aligning with values, the smarter framework, breaking things down, building habits, dealing with obstacles.
Ooh.
We even touched on the deeper why behind our goals and how they can help us grow and transform.
It's been a great deep dive.
It has. I hope you're leaving with tons of new ideas and the inspiration to make 2025 amazing.
Absolutely. Remember, you can achieve anything you set your mind to, embrace the journey, and never stop believing in yourself.
So well said. That's a wrap on this deep dive into goal setting. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.